Hi, I'm Matthew from Advisor Tech Partners. I've worked with over 50 different advisory firms that utilize both Redtail and Wealthbox CRM systems. At Advisor Tech Partners, we help financial advisory firms implement the industry's best practice management, workflows, and automations to their firm. We believe that this information should be available to everyone and not hidden behind a paywall. So if you enjoy this content, please feel free to subscribe below and also give us a like and share our content with your fellow people in the industry. Is your firm utilizing custom questions when your clients and prospects are scheduling? If not, today I'm going to show you in GReminders, a scheduling software, how you can do that and how you can actually get that information to port over to your CRM. So in GReminders today, we're going to show you how to actually create those custom questions. Second of all, how to create the custom field in your CRM, how to actually map that contact information over so that once a client or a prospect answers it, it'll port over to your CRM. And then lastly, we're going to show you here how it actually works in an actual event type. So let's say you have an annual review meeting that's going on and you want to be able to ask what the client's drink preference is. We're going to show you how to actually put that into that scheduling link. So we're in our custom questions field area under our organization settings in GReminders. So I'm going to show you here what that looks like if we're setting up a drink preference or maybe some life updates for a client and we want to be able to ask, hey, what's going on during your life? How's it been going since the past year since we've met? So I'll give you this first example here. So if you need to create a new question, you're going to go ahead and click that green button up here, and then it'll bring you to this next page asking you for information. So we're going to break down what information is needed on this page. So the first one, it's going to ask you for the name of the question. This is just the way internally that you're going to be able to identify it. So for our cases, we utilize the FA question drink preferences. If you want to keep track of, hey, this is a client question or if this is a prospect question, you can totally do that beforehand, put a dash, and then ask what the question is afterwards. Here, the second part here, the question is, this is what the customer or the prospect, this is what they're going to see here. So we're asking them, what is your drink preference? And then lastly here, we have the tooltip, which is if they're hovering over the actual question and they need a little bit more guidance as to what this means, you can guide them towards a response. So in our case, typically clients, when they're walking in, they want some coffee, tea, water, maybe a soft drink like Coca-Cola. So we'll go ahead and we'll make sure that the data type also too is a one line. You may see some other options there, but in our case, we're going to keep it as one line response. So we'll go ahead and lastly click save. In our next example here, we have an annual review client question. So let's say it's been a year since we've met up with our client and we're actually looking to see, hey, what's going on in their life? What changes have happened? So we've listed a couple here below and we've selected this as a checkbox instead. So if multiple things have happened over the past year, like let's say they moved addresses or maybe they got a new email address, they can check both the boxes instead of just one. Some other examples that we have are income changes, inheritances, maybe considering moving as well from their primary residence. So we just want to capture those things so that we're more prepared for that annual review that comes up. And we understand that your firm may have some other guidance questions that you may want to ask. Let's say you're serving a niche of advisors. And we understand that your firm may come across some other situations. So let's say, for example, you work with a lot of post-retirees and they're looking to really plan out their trips for the next couple of years and they are still deciding, right? This is where you can put a little box here to talk about how that trip went that you may have planned for the past year and, talking about expenses and how much they could afford. This is a great topic to bring up and to reiterate during your annual reviews. So again, we're going to go ahead and leave this here. So we have this naming convention. We also have the actual question that the client or the customer is going to see. And then lastly, we have these two fields here. So again, just giving them some guidance to check some of the options below. And then also we have the checkboxes area. So just making sure that they are actually checking on multiple examples if needed. And then we'll go ahead and click the green save button. So now that we're done actually creating our custom questions in GReminders, let's go into your CRM and actually create those fields and see how we can start mapping those over. Great, so now that we're in your Wealthbox CRM, we're going to click on custom fields, and to get to this customizations page within your workspace, we're going to go ahead and click on the three dots on the top right, settings, click on customizations under workspace, and then we have our custom fields here. So once we click on that, you're going to go ahead and click on the green plus button, and that's going to allow you to actually create the custom field in your CRM and Wealthbox. In our example, we have already created them, so let's show you what those look like here. So in our example, we have our drink preference. We have this as a just open field, so really the client can answer this any way that they want. So again, remembering back in our GReminders, that question that we created, it was a one-line open response, so they could type anything in there that they wanted to. So we'll go ahead, we'll keep that there, and we'll click Save. Next, I'm going to show you, again, for that second question we created, that multi-checkbox that we actually had. So if I go ahead and click on Edit, it's going to give me the options that should map up with what we had already created in GReminders. So we have our address change, phone number, email, income, inheritance, and considering moving. So we have our income, inheritance, and considering moving. And again, last thing too you're going to want to check is make sure that this displays for the specific contact types only for people in your CRM. So we'll click that green save button. So now you should have these, and now we're going to start mapping them over back in GReminders. So now that we're back in GReminders, I'm going to go ahead and click on Wealthbox, and it's the green button here, and it's going to be for the tab integrations. So once you click on integrations, click on Wealthbox, and that's going to bring us to the Wealthbox integrations page. Now if you scroll all the way to the bottom, this is where we are going to be able to map the actual fields. Again, from the custom question that we created to the custom field that we created in Wealthbox. So in our example, we have our custom field. So we have the one we just created for the drink preferences, and then we have our one in Wealthbox. And again, keeping them consistent naming wise for the convention of the naming really helps you manage your CRM and manage your scheduling platform. So we went ahead and kept these the same, so there's no confusion when we're actually creating these questions. The last thing we're going to want to do is make a decision for the update field. So we have a couple of options. Do we want this to override the data in the CRM? No, well, we are looking for it too, but how? So two options here. We have the yes only if value is blank. So if you only want clients to answer this question once, you can always select this. Or in our case, hey, maybe our client's drink preference changes from year to year. Maybe one year they want coffee and the other they're looking and they're more of a tea connoisseur. So we're going to go ahead and leave this as a yes, overwrite existing value. And again, doing this for both the first question for drink preferences and the second question for any life updates. So we'll go ahead, click Save. And now we have that information porting over from when a client is answering this question on the scheduling page over to our CRM. So now we are under management under the event type templates, and I'm going to say, let's say this 30-minute meeting is designed to be an in-person meeting with our clients here. And again, I want to ask them that question. What type of drink preference do they want during their meeting? So the way we're going to do that is under our form questions area, I'm going to go ahead and add a question from the pre-existing questions that we just built and mapped over to our CRM. So I'll go ahead and click that question for the drink preference, save it, and now you see it populates over here. So if I wanted to manipulate this, I wanted to make this a little bit bigger and more obvious, I can go ahead and do that by either expanding or re-expanding and also changing the order in which this shows up. So if I want this to show up a little bit earlier and just wider to have its own line, I can definitely go ahead and by clicking these two arrows here and just changing that, or if I just wanted it to show up as a question and having its own little segmented area, I'll go ahead and do that. And then lastly, I'll click the end order and scroll all the way to the bottom and click Save Template. And that's how you do it. That's how you add a custom question and get those fields to map over to your CRM. So again, we just showed you how to actually create that custom question in both your GReminders and your CRM. And lastly, we showed you how to actually add it to your event type templates. So when your client is actually clicking on this schedule link, they are getting that question and it's prompting them, and that will feed directly over to your CRM. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to subscribe, like our video, and also check out our other videos. We put out a video series on how to transfer over your Redtail CRM to Wealthbox step by step, because we know a lot of you are transferring over, so we wanted to provide those videos as a free guide. If your firm is also struggling with issues like these, with setting up systems and building out processes and workflows, and quite honestly maybe thinking through some automations, please feel free to schedule an intro call with us. We'd be more than happy to discuss those challenges that your firm is facing and how we can overcome them together.